that story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And front page of the Guardian newspaper, I can see a pictorial graph here explaining the oil production level and how it's been done here on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And then this one here says 900 days on, CDHR tax Sanwo-Olu on justice for late Pamishe. 900 days on, CDHR tax Sanwo-Olu on justice for late Pamishe. You can get full details of that story on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying telephone service quality may drop as telcos consider load shedding. Telephone service quality may drop as telcos consider load shedding. You can get full details of that story on page 16 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Marginalization, good governance or additional 18 states. That's an analysis there on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper this morning, saying marginalization, good governance or additional 18 states. You can get full details of that analysis there on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Food insecurity, federal government banks on dry season farming as flood devastates northeast. Food insecurity, federal government banks on dry season farming as flood devastates northeast. Can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Arrest Nigerian CSOs, unions urged to reject authoritarianism under Tinubu. Arrest Nigerian CSO, unions urged to reject authoritarianism and under Tinubu. You can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying Tinubu to meet Jinping over road rail projects orders. Tinubu to meet Jinping over road rail projects orders. You can get full details of that story on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And we have this one still from the Guardian newspaper saying that residents of Rivers community flee over fresh oil spill. Residents of Rivers communities flee over fresh oil spill. You can get full details of that story on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. IMF hinges Nigeria's 3.1% economic growth outlook on stronger reforms. IMF hinges Nigeria's 3.1% economic growth outlook on stronger reform. You can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And let's see what we have from the Nation newspaper this morning with this one saying okay, let's move over to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And then we have this one saying agony in the southeast as kidnappers lay siege to communities. Agony in southeast as kidnappers lay siege to communities. And the story has a writer here saying tales of horror from Lakpanta Umunechi area. Lilu Osumo axis in Iyala, now called Sambisa, of the southeast. Gun battles rage almost daily in Ozigwe. Oil bunkers, tiger insecurity in Oguta area. Gunmen launch attacks from forest or in Osu. Oguta, Awo, Omama, Oro tackles tales from kidnappers. There's a lot of riders there as regards the story from the southeast saying agony in southeast as kidnappers lay siege to communities. You can get full details of that story there on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And bad governance, federal government gets 17-point ultimatum. And bad governance, federal government gets 17-point ultimatum. You can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Insecurity and the bloodshed, can Sultan urge federal government. Insecurity and the bloodshed, can Sultan urge federal government. That story is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Flooding, death toll rises to 170, injured 2,000, displaced 205,000. Death toll rises to 170, injured 2,000, displaced 205,000. That's the flooding report there. You can get full details of it on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Now I have this one saying multiplicity of charges. Orders hindering export from Nigeria, NSC, stakeholders. You can get full details of that story on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Labour Party National Working Committee rejects Governor Oti's move to convene elective NEC. You can get full details of that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Lastly, here from the Vanguard newspaper, you have this one saying controversy greets Labadia's appointments. You can get full details of that story on page 31 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Nigerian Tribune is here too. Let's see what's there on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune with this one saying end killings, banditry, can Sultan urge federal government, says recent bloodshed alarming. And get full details of that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. We have this one saying fuel crisis. Lepers in Lagos resort to drinking contaminated water. Health experts warn of public health crisis. Fuel crisis. Lepers in Lagos resort to drinking contaminated water. Health experts warn on public health crisis. Can get full details of that story on page 27 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Ogun border community seeks federal government intervention over violent attacks. Ogun border community seeks federal government intervention over violent border attacks. I can get full details of that story on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Labour Party moves to sanction Governor Oti, set up disciplinary committee. Labour Party moves to sanction Governor Oti, set up disciplinary committee. Can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Tinubu Chinese president to meet in Beijing. Tinubu Chinese president to meet in Beijing. You can get full details of that story also from page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. ICPC inaugurates anti-corruption unit in FIRS. ICPC inaugurates anti-corruption unit in FIRS. That story is on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Deepening Nigeria, BBC relations crucial. Information Minister. Deepening Nigeria, BBC relations crucial. Information Minister speaking there. You can get full details of that story on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. 48 years after ex-rep member refunds FG's loan. 48 years after ex-rep member refunds FG's student loan of 1,200 naira with 3.1 million naira. You can get full details of that story on page 10 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Rivers police launch manhunt for kidnappers of director. Rivers police launch manhunt for kidnappers of director. You can get full details of that story on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. 13 arrested over attack in Oyo Commissioner's convoy. 13 arrested over attack on Oyo Commissioner's convoy. You can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. No timeline yet for Rosanye report implementation, federal government. No timeline yet for Rosanye report implementation. That's coming from the federal government. That story is on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Monkeypox, states gear up for emerging threats as US donates 10,000 doses of vaccine. Saying Nigeria orders to benefit from WHO's $87.4 million fund. Can get full details of that story on page 20 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. And lastly, let's check the Punch newspaper with this one saying flights of fancy. Governors slammed for wasting 160 billion naira on available airports. Flights of fancy. Governors slammed for wasting 160 billion naira on available airports. The story has a writer here says Nasarawa Yobe orders beg FG to take over airports shunned by airlines. You can get full details of that story on page 19 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And we have this one saying Lagos Calabar Highway demolition. Lagos Calabar Highway demolition. 100 landowners team up for fresh legal war. Lagos Calabar Highway demolition. 100 landowners teams up for fresh legal war. Can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Abure Oti on collision course over Labour Party National Working Committee tenure. Can get full details of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. External auditors to examine NNPC's 2.6 trillion naira subsidy claim. External auditors to examine NNPC's 2.6 trillion naira subsidy claim. You can get full details of that story also on page 20 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Edo polls with current hardship, electorates won't vote APC. That's coming from PDP chieftain. Edo polls, with current hardship, electorates won't vote APC. PDP chieftain is talking there. You can get full details of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. So talking about the Edo polls here this morning, INEC rules out PVC collections by proxy. INEC rules out PVC collection by proxy. You can get full details of that story on page 14 rather of the Punch newspaper this morning. AMCON set to sell Ibadan Disco. AMCON set to sell Ibadan Disco. Can get full details of that story right there on page 20 of the Punch newspaper this morning. IG vows to rescue 2,149 kidnapped victims. That story is on page 10 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Lagos conducts red line rail test run today. Lagos conducts red line rail test run today. You can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Punch newspaper this lovely Wednesday morning, the 28th day in the month of the 28th day in the month of August 2024. All right, about now, we'll be going straight into the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning. Just take a look to your radio set because it promises to be an exciting time on radio, like I said earlier. So it's going to be analysis time now, after which we open the phone lines for you to join the conversation this morning on the program. Newslands right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Alright, you're welcome back. It's still Newslands right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. And right about now, we'll be going straight into the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning. And this morning, I have with me in the studio Professor Wale Akinyemi. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Tayo. Good morning to our listeners around the world.
Alright, let's start with the story from relating to insecurity this morning. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, we have this one saying agony in Southeast as kidnappers lead siege to communities. And then there's a lot of riders here. And then that's not where we are going to exactly. And then we have this one on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune as regards this one saying end killings, banditry, can Sultan urge federal government, sees recent bloodshed alarming. And then the Vanguard also reports that same story saying end the bloodshed, can Sultan urge federal government. Professor Wale Akinyemi, it's been some recent days of back-to-back clash. We had the Shiites, people doing their own kidnappers. You've had bloodshed around, and there's a report here this morning too that insecurity has taken another turn in the southeastern part of the nation. And then I want to ask the question: what's the federal government really doing at this time to tackle the issue of insecurity, Prof?
The problem of insecurity is one that has refused to go away in Nigeria. But I can tell you that the security status of Nigeria is a reflection of the attitude of Nigerians to government, or the way they are being governed. I mean, let us be honest with ourselves. Nigeria itself has been held hostage by the political class. So we have been kidnapped, our economy has been kidnapped. And the majority of people, they are out of work. Majority of people cannot feed. Majority of people are frustrated. I'm not justifying kidnapping. No, make no mistake about that. Okay. But in the situation where you are making life extremely unbearable for people, some people cannot bear it. They will be pushed to crime. And if you look at the areas where you are having all of this kidnapping, you will see that majority of the people that are involved are young people. People that have that are very virile, that have energy that they could have positively deployed for the economic growth of this country. But because they don't have sufficient opportunity, because the system is not favoring them, that is why we are having an increase in that sector. I mean, take the Southeast, for example. These are people that naturally are very, very enterprising. These are people that are noted for hard work. But you will see that the more our economy is going, that the worse the situation of a kidnapping is becoming. Because let me be very honest with you, apart from holding political office, one of the surest ways in which you can get money in Nigeria is to go the wrong way, as in kidnapping. Because which business do you want to invest and then you keep getting somebody and then you say ask for 100 million? And that 100 million is, what kind of business are you investing in that gives you that kind of return? Not even telecommunications. Because for all the money that those ones are earning, you know how much they are also deploying to sustain the service. So what I'm saying to government, therefore, is that they should do everything to ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians. They should do everything to take our youth from the poverty line. They should do everything, because the situation where they are just moralizing and they are saying it and you cannot see it in their work and in their work. It is not sustainable. It is not what Nigeria needs at this particular moment. What Nigeria needs is leadership by example. People cannot be living, the people that are leading us, they cannot be living in luxury and then be pontificating to Nigerians that they should be patient. It's not every Nigerian that wants to have that kind of patience. Some that even want to have the patience may be pushed to crime, and that will be most unfortunate. I'm not in any way encouraging crime of any sort. Well, what I'm saying is that human beings all over the world, they have a propensity to turn bad, and that is why you have institutions of law. If not because of deterrent of law, go to any nation, it's not peculiar to Nigeria. People have this tendency to turn bad. And that is why when you have anything like a strike or you have anything like a protest, you see some people going into to vandalize, some people going into to steal properties and all of that. That is what is innate in most people.
Right, Prof, you talked about the issue of governance this time earlier, and he said talked about government office holders should probably do the needful, because we've seen instances where we hear billions of naira being used to get some certain items. Talk about the issue of private jet, talk about the issue of SUVs, and then Nigerians will think there's money. And if there's money, we can actually come up with ways and means to get money from these people, from our headlights, so to speak. And then probably this is what is fueling the issue of insecurity more in this part of the world.
Absolutely. I mean, a situation where, can't you even see that if you check the profile, the people that have been kidnapped, majority of them now you find out that there are people who have stakes in the politics of Nigeria. You know, we just read about even in Oyo State here, that's relatively safe, how the convoy of a commissioner
was attacked.
So that they are bringing it down to our political elite. So all of these things we are saying to them is even in their own enlightened self-interest to make sure that they take care of the poverty level that Nigerians are living now. Majority of the people that are leading Nigeria are living in fool's paradise. You know, it's like if they don't understand what Nigerians are going through. Things are extremely difficult. People are queuing up in filling stations. People don't have jobs. Companies are closing down. Parents are frustrated. Health of people is dilapidating. Drugs are very, very expensive. I mean, what is one good thing that Nigerians can even boldly say now that they're enjoying for this government? What is the whole essence of government? And yet government is talking about big figures that have been voted. Increment in the revenue that is being given to the states and even at the federal level. Yet it does not translate to improve quality of life to Nigerians. This is something that is totally unacceptable.
Interesting one there. Let's move on to some other stories this morning. Let's talk about the issue of NNPC. You talked about queues at the filling stations the other time. And then there's a report here, there's a news here saying external auditors to examine NNPC's 2.6 trillion naira subsidy claim. I mean, Nigerians have been saying, let's even audit NNPC for once. But then it seems it's going to happen very soon because the report here on the front page of on page 20 of the Punch newspaper is saying external auditors to examine NNPC 2.6 trillion naira subsidy claim because as over the time we've heard that there's no subsidy, but then in recent days we've also heard in the news that probably subsidy is back and we don't know. Probably the federal government is paying the subsidy through the back door. But then there's the report here saying external auditors to audit NNPC's 2.6 trillion naira subsidy claim. What's your take on that, Prof?
We are running a democracy. Ordinarily, one person, no matter how powerful that person is, whether the person is a president or commander-in-chief, should not have the kind of power to unilaterally pronounce that henceforth subsidy is gone. And the members of the National Assembly, the Senate, House of Representatives, they kept mute. I mean, what is their function? Why are they there if they say that they are representing Nigerians and they cannot speak on our behalf? At what point did they make this consultation? Somebody is being sworn in, and that from that day one. And you will see that the moment this pronouncement was made, everything went haywire in Nigeria. And it will appear as if we were not prepared. We did not do for ways, strategies that will mitigate the oncoming disaster. We have made it, we made that mistake before we now begin to think of how to solve the problem that is arising out of it. And it's unfortunate. I must say that this is something that is consistent with the APC generally. because you see that there's a whole lot of policy somersault. People will come up with a policy, and then when the policy is being implemented, that is now they begin to see so many faults. And it's so unfortunate that most of the time they are not even humble enough to retrace their step. So we cannot continue like this. Some of this truth we must tell ourselves, because it's the only way in which Nigeria can move further. Because we cannot be saying, some people cannot pretend as if they are better Nigerians than the rest of us. We are all stakeholders in this country, and when we see things that are going wrong, we must point them out. In places where the government is doing very well, we have had opportunity to credit them. You know that is the way we are in Omoluwabi. But we want to be very, very fair, and we want to be very, very objective in whatever we say. Right now, government must take very, very close look at all their policies. A situation in which they come up with a policy, and then later on they will now begin to see the fault that is in that policy. Is totally unfortunate. I'm quick to quickly mention the policy on education, where they are saying 18-year-old people cannot write exam for school certificate.
We'll still come back to that. So I would love to take your opinion on that too. But then let's check out the NNPC. The NNPC has not been audited for a very long time, and people are saying, is the NNPC so strong that we don't even know how much they are making, we don't know how much they are earning, and then people are saying, what's the big deal? What is it a secret society? Nigerians want to know, why is the NNPC not being audited? But now it seems an external firm will come and audit the NNPC. Prof, as regards the issue of auditing, don't you think there should be transparency among all government agencies and parastatals, not just doing kind of things in secrecy in this nation?
NNPC is a cesspool of corruption. It has always been like that. It's not just during the regime of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Everything in NNPC has been shrouded in secrecy. The past 8 years of the former President Buhari, he was the substantive petroleum minister. Where did he lead Nigeria to? Protracted problems. Now the present president is also the substantive minister of petroleum resources. Where has it led us to? And we know that this economy is oil driven. Everything that affects oil affects every aspect of our economy. So what would have expected that this is one a sector that should have been given all the attention needed, because if this station is not working well, if it's not efficient, then every other aspect of the economy will be tattered. As
a matter of fact, this is the backbone of the Nigerian economy.
It is the backbone of the Nigerian economy, and that is why it's like it's a deliberate thing. Because I don't see how any government can operate this way and expect to have the desired result. Because if we are not transparent about our whole earnings, then it means that we are just making a joke about our budget. Because on what are we budgeting? It's just a charade, something that you do an annual ritual that does not translate into anything. If for people that are financial experts, I'm sure they will find it very, very difficult to reconcile Nigeria government expenditure with what is budgeted on an annual basis. So there is a need for transparency in that sector. There's a need for the sector to be completely overhauled. I've said it the often time that if this is the way Petrobras is run, Brazil will be in shambles. If it is the way Aramco is run in Saudi Arabia, they will not be achieving the kind of things that they are achieving. If this is the way the equivalent of NNPC is run in Dubai, the United Arab Republic, they will not be having the kind of achievement that they are registering. So NNPC is configured right now to favor some Nigerians, some special Nigerians, and until we remove those Nigerians, because the security of Nigeria, financial security of Nigeria, is much more important than whatever consideration or affiliation any leader may think he has to some sector or to some cabals, as the case may be.
Interesting one there. Let's check this one out as regards the issue of governors this time around. The front page of the Punch newspaper has this banner headline here saying, "Flights of fantasy. Governor slammed for wasting 160 billion naira on unavailable airports." And then starts the rider here saying, "Nasarawa Yobe orders beg FG to take over airports shunned by airlines." We've always been talking about these governors embarking on projects and doing things that eventually won't see the light of the day. And this is just another example here saying governor slammed for wasting 160 billion naira on unavailable airports. Prof.
is because there's no sanction for misbehavior. Any country where you have people that they can do things with impunity and there's no sanction, you find this kind of a thing happening. Don't forget that they have governors forum and they will be exchanging ideas. They probably tell you, I see a situation where they probably be having discussions and say, oh, you are looking for ways in which you can make easy money, embark on white elephant projects. And that is why you find out that there are so many airports that have been built. Some of them, what they just have is the wrong way. Some of them, the wrong way is not even complete, and they have them scattered all over the country, even in states that do not require airport.
Let's check the one very close to us here, the one at Ekiti State. There's a cargo airport, as a supposed cargo airport in Ekiti State. But then it seems many people condemned that airport when it was commissioned. It was commissioned, not even, it hasn't neared completion when it was commissioned under the former governor of Ekiti State and Kayode Fayemi at that time. And then many are saying, why should you just waste taxpayers' money in constructing such a thing? Do a state like Ekiti need a cargo airport at that point in time? Is that the priority? And it seems this is what most of these state governments are doing at this time. It seems they are not checking the priority, the needs of the people at every point in time before they embark on this white elephant project.
Even in situations where they need the airport, the assumption that they should consider is that the priority. They should ask that questions. They shouldn't be thinking of projects that can only benefit the airlines. How many people in Ekiti can actually patronize an airport, considering the economic situation of that state? What would have expected that the government, not only in Ekiti State but in any of these hinterland states, to think of projects that will benefit more of their people? If you think of the Pareto principle, that is a situation in which 20% can influence the destiny of 80%. You will find that most of the time our airlines are always thinking of that 20%, forgetting about the majority, the 80%. So we cannot continue to enact policies that we only have the interest of the elite at mind and forgetting about the interest of the majority of people. There is no way any government can embark on that kind of policy outlook and then expect to achieve anything tangible. No, because right now what we have a self-serving government. That is the honest to God truth. All of this, the majority of the policies that you have right now, they are policies that are geared towards the people that are political allies, the people that are economic allies. And we see from what I'm saying, anything that government wants to do again, this same set of billionaires, paper billionaires, they call them, they will just throw it at them. The $10 of this world, the Dangotes of this world, and the rest of it. It is not like that. Government is not all about some people that are already very, very rich, some people that are already very, very influential. Government should be about the comfort of majority of Nigerians.
Interesting one there. You made mention of the issue of government policy the other time as regards the issue of age of students writing WAEC. This time, the federal government has pegged the age of WAEC candidates at 18, and I would love to take your thoughts on that. And then there's been controversy surrounding this issue. The story here from yesterday's Vanguard saying outrage as federal government pegs age for writing WAEC at 18 years, and then saying the writer here says to draw back education that's coming from the Nigerian Union of Teachers. And then we have this one also here saying parents saying they will go to court, and then the WAEC is saying we'll respond later. And then this one is also coming from Konwa saying we want to meet stakeholders. And then ASU is saying why are parents rushing their children? Prof, this is another policy somersault by this federal government of the day.
I'm going to be brutally frank with you. As far as education is concerned, there is a deliberate attempt by a section of the country to slow down the rest of the country. And you observe that anytime they make somebody from that part of the country the education minister, there will be retrogression in the education of Nigeria. It's unfortunate that this could be happening at a time when this same sector of the country, they allow 13-year-old, 15-year-old to get married. Yet, toddlers like that can get married, but they are not mature enough to write school certificate exams. I mean, you can look at the hypocrisy. It's just a deliberate plan to destroy the education advancement of the southern part of the country, specifically the southwest. I must tell you that. You see, it's unfortunate that this is coming at a time when we have some child prodigy that are finishing at Oxford PhD at the age of 17. The absolute truth of the matter is that if you look at people that are extremely brilliant, it's better they do their education at the time when they are very, very young. Okay, let us assume with the way things are going, and I know parents will be listening to what I'm saying now, with the way education is configured in Southwest right now, majority of our children will be writing school certificate at the age of 15. I know I have a daughter that I know will be writing school certificate at the age of 15. And that child is extremely brilliant. So you are not asking that girl to go and wait and sit for 3 years
before she writes school certificate.
Before she writes school certificate, not to talk of when she will now go to higher education. I think it's a policy that we should fight. We should know this should not stand because there is no justification for it. It is going to do Nigeria more harm than good, and I don't see any justification for it because at the end of the day, when you have children, you say that the idle hand is the devil's workshop. So when you have somebody that has finished school and then you now ask that person to go and wait at home for 3 years, it's only going to excavate our security problem. Because you have a lot of young people, they are frustrated. Right now they are frustrated. Now you are now coming up with policies that will frustrate them further. They are not talking about how to solve the problem of Almajiri. They are not talking about how to solve the problem of all these bandits all over the place. What is important to them is how to bring retrogressive policy to the education of Nigeria. Right. It's most unfortunate.
Prof, you made mention of the Almajiri's children. Now we'll come back and talk more about that after this short commercial break. And do not forget, we are streaming live on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Go check us live on Facebook this morning and drop your comments at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You can also call us when we come back. We open the phone lines for you to join the conversation this morning. This is the News Lens right here on omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Fresh news, best talk, hot music, where else?
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time. So give your chance this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snacks. Snack of future champions. Milo!
I will show you. Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 Naira, while Super Pack is now 350 Naira. So hurry now. Offer valid until stock lasts.
In any emergency, every second counts. The Nigerian Communications Commission brings you the 112 emergency toll-free line, available nationwide, anytime, any day, absolutely free. With just 3 simple digits, 112, help is on the way. Dial from any network at any time. No charges, just immediate response. Remember, the 112 toll-free line directly connects to emergency services. If you need the police, fire service, ambulance services, Federal Road Safety Corps, Nigeria Civil Defense Corps, and more. Because when it comes to saving lives, we're all in this together at NCC. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight. Stay in power, you find
Power on every morning with a Peak protein breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak, reach for your peak.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Alright, you're welcome back. It's still Newslands right here on Omoluwabi. It is 7.7 FM. The studio lines are open. You can join the conversation via the telephone lines this morning 07047 007999. 07047 007999. Can also call us on 08053888933. 08053888933. You can also drop your comment on Facebook this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Drop your comments for us this morning. We will read them when you drop them this morning at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You have some comment there already. But before we read comments or pick phone calls, very quickly, Prof, talking about the Amajiri children in the north, it seems that during the regime of the former president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, they started that system, but then it seems it's not working effectively, or let me say, it's not working as it's supposed to work again, because they are looking for ways to take these children off the streets and then probably just put them somewhere and get them busy. But then it seems that is not working again as we speak.
The Almajiris of the Jonathan era, they are the ones that have advanced to become Boko Haram and bandits today. It's just the truth. Because when you leave undone what you should do, you will suffer the consequence. These people are Nigerians. And believe you me, so many of them are very, very intelligent. But they are unfortunate to be born in an area where they do not value education. Look at the whole idea of even Boko Haram. That is, book is haram. How can any government allow this kind of a thing to stand? And whether you like it or not, Boko Haram is able to thrive in Nigeria because it enjoys support from a wide spectrum of people in that part of the country. They have sympathy for it. Because the members of Boko Haram, they are not spirits. They are not phantoms. They are human beings. And they live in societies. They know them. They identify them. The other day, Rufai was saying something like they can identify the location of bandits. So if they can do all of these things, why are they not doing something about it? You see? So it means that some people are deliberately building an army of irresponsible people that they can unleash on society for their own selfish interests.
Interesting one.
And that is what is happening.
Let's see this with here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost the call there. You can do what to call us back 07047 007999. 07047 007999. Okay, let's see. We have a call here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from? All right. Please make your point.
Regarding the issue of governor that said one expectations on paper records, I think we need to be here. They're supposed to channel that money to women. The airport at all, like it is, like the analyst said. Instead of them, they're supposed to think that's why the boss. Think they want to start a new airport on the side. The amount that we cost, even the very expensive. But like Biafra now, we have this local government. You have the capacity because we get it 30% of the
The line is not clear. You have to let you go there. Can do what to call us back. The studio lines are still open this morning. 07047 007999. 07047 007999. You can also call us on 08053 888933. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where are you calling us from?
Cassius.
All right.
From the Barton.
All right, please make your point.
I want to firstly commend your analysis there. You have spoken so well the minds of Nigeria. Honestly speaking, the government of the day is like a plague to the people who are really feeling the impact. Their policies are not well thought of. Just wake up overnight and make policies without analyzing the consequences of the policies. Just like the honorary said, President Tinubu on his 4th day just removed for subsidy without consultation, without deliberation, with nothing. and the effect is what the country is going through today. The hike in everything. People can no longer feed. When I drive, everywhere I go to now, you see people begging. People who decent people, they are full beggars. This is alarming. This is heart-rending. We are trying for the 1,000 and 1,000 plus in every station. Isn't that alarming? Okay, now take for instance again the policy of 18 years. If somebody has to be 18 years before because he does wine, isn't that a stupid policy? You can imagine that. So they don't think before they come up with their policy. Take again the policy of name for instance. We have CVN, we have national purpose license. There are a lot of other identity that are valid. Okay, they came up with me that unless you link your name with the bank, what is the for BVN? So in fact, a lot of the things they do is so it's appalling. It's appalling, I'm telling you.
All right, thank you very much. We need to let you go now as to allow some other people to be a part of the program this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, your name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, my name is Omoluwabi Daniel. I'm calling from Agbaje, Jokodo.
Please make your points.
Okay, sir. Sir, what I want to say concerning the policy, I do not want to subscribe to the fact that maybe it's a deliberate attempt to maybe cause a setback to a certain section of people in the country. If we remember, back in the days, before you go to school, they say you have to be up to 6 years, and then, in fact, if you go to school, they will take one of your hands to see that he's able to touch the other ear before they will allow you to start school. And those things did not just start to happen. It's as a result of the fact that people that build the curriculum, they believe that socialization of a child really commences at the age of 6. So at the point that they will allow children to start going to school at the age of about 3 to 4, where they will start maybe pre-nursery, nursery 1, nursery 2, and then at about age 6, they allow the children to promote to primary 1. But at a point, because of the insurgence of these private schools, started taking advantage of some people and then telling people that children have to start going to school early at age 2, age 1, and then it became a trend. So if federal government is at this point trying to say that let us go back to what it used to be, I don't want us to look at it as a sectional or regional thing. We should look at it as a policy that has come up again, and then look at the both sides. I'm a psychologist in training. I'm an MSc student with the University of Ibadan in psychology. We have discussed this very point in class one day, and then we asked a question whether it was better for us to return back to those days, or we keep doing what we are doing right away.
All right,
so I don't want us to look at it as something that is a regional thing that maybe they are attacking one region or another. That is my own point, sir.
Thank you very much. You've made your point already, and we'll get to you there this morning. Let's quickly check some of comments on Facebook this morning. This one is coming from Oluwaseun saying the policy of the government on education sector is not good one, because if a child finishes secondary school at the age of 16, what will he or she be doing before 18 years to write to WAEC? This year, he goes further to say, as the government's thoughts about the implication of this policy on the insecurity, and how many private organizations will be requesting for not more than 25 years of age to employ. I would just urge the government to finance our institutions and allocate enough funds in line with UNESCO standard to education, just like the way your state and Lagos states are doing. Okay, thank you very much for contributing there. We have this one saying from Adirunke Akurede, saying the government needs to put an end to food crisis challenges we are facing, as flooding and insecurity has been the major road that affects the farmers. I will urge the government to be proactive enough, just like our governors in the states on the issue of flooding. Thank you very much for being a part of the program. Layade Salaudin, thank you very much for also being a part of the program this morning. I sincerely appreciate everyone for joining the conversation this morning. Those who dropped their comment on Facebook and the course that came in, and for the course we couldn't pick, we say a sincere apologies to you all for not being able to pick your course. Thank you very much, Professor Wale Akinyemi, for being a part of the program.
The pleasure is mine.
Tomorrow is another time for us to come again on radio to discuss what's going on around Nigeria as regards what the newspapers are reporting. My name is Oluwatayo Ajiwole, and right about now I'll be handing over to Jonathan Ibileke to take us on into the world of sports, right after which Kaka Kiroyin will be coming on board right on this same dial, omoluwabi 7.7 FM. Until some other time that we'll join again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.